And welcome everybody to another edition of the GSMC Football Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. As always, I'm your host, Kenneth Grunfelder, and it's great to have everybody here on this Thursday, January 4th. We have a lot to talk about on the show today, but before I get into that, I just want to remind you guys, as always, to tip or donate and get your comments recognized, make sure to go to the following link. That is streamelements.com/gsmcsportsnetwork./tip. Again, that really helps the show, makes the show more interactive between myself, the host, and you guys, the viewers. Again, that is streamelements.com/gsmcsportsnetwork./tip. And as always, this is displayed on the ticker on the bottom of the show segment down below. So, that being said, let's get right into what we are going to talk about. So, we're going to start off the show. I know I said I was going to touch upon it, during the week, and that's talking about Panthers owner David Tepper being fined for throwing a drink on a Jacksonville Jaguars fan at the game this past week. So I wanted to talk about that just because the Panthers they've had a rough season. So I wanted to talk about that on one of the shows this week. In the second part of the show, we're going to take a look at a couple of things. We're going to look at potential playoff matchups as well, and also we're going to look at the second part of the show. We're going to look at the dark horse playoff teams. What teams are not necessarily the favorites, of course, but what teams are going to be the teams that you don't want to face in the playoffs and that could make a run to the Super Bowl. So we'll get into that. We'll talk about the potential playoff matchups in both the NFC and the AFC. And then to conclude the show, we'll look at the Pro Bowl rosters because those came out yesterday, and I know there's some people that got snubbed, so we'll get into all that, and that'll basically be it. And yeah, there's no Thursday night game, so gotta find some other things to talk about. So so that is that's the rundown for the show today. So let's get right into the first topic, which is talking about Panthers owner David Tepper. So yeah, he was fined. The exact amount, because I was looking into it more last night. So he was fined $300,000 for throwing a drink at Jaguars fans. Now, again, I don't know what was said, to him that he decided to do that, but yeah, I mean the Panthers, they had a rough game on Sunday. They got shut out 26 to nothing. To the Jaguars, and this is coming off of a week where you were going up against a bad defense, but still, I mean the way the Panthers' offense has struggled to score points this year, you'll take anything, and you put up 30 the previous week, and then you get shut out 26 to nothing to the Jaguars, and there was a video, and it shows him from a suite throwing a drink at Jaguar fans. It was announced by Tom Pelissero of NFL Network that the NFL fined him $300,000 for his unacceptable conduct during the game. All NFL personnel are expected to conduct themselves at all times in ways that respect our fans and favorably reflect on their team and the NFL. That was what the statement that the NFL said. So Tepper released his own statement telling NFL Network, "I am deeply passionate about this team and regret my behavior on Sunday. I should have let the NFL stadium security handle any issues that arose. I respect the NFL's code of conduct and accept the league's discipline for my behavior." But yeah, I mean, shouldn't do that, but at the same time, it's also out of frustration too because it's been a rough season. Things have not gone right for the Panthers. He took over. I think he took over in 2018, I believe. I had the record since he took over. And actually, Panthers fans have a petition to get him removed as owner. And I don't think it's not going to happen, but yeah, it's been rough. So so since he took over, because I was looking at an article that had the record since he's taken over. So the Panthers are 2-14, and they are 31-67 since Tepper bought the team in 2018, failing to make the playoffs in each of his 6 seasons. Yeah, not good. Not good. And, listen, the Panthers, they finished 7-10 last year, and they went backwards. They got even worse. And this is coming off of, listen, you get the number 1 overall pick. You give up a hefty price for it. You trade DJ Moore. And he wanted Bryce Young over CJ Stroud. He does not regret the decision, but yeah, it's not looking good right now. It's not looking good right now. Also on top of that, trading Christian McCaffrey as well to the 49ers. I mean, I don't know what they would have done when it comes to the number 1 overall pick. Like, if it wasn't DJ Moore, they would have included. But you think Bryce Young could have used a Christian McCaffrey and a DJ Moore? I think that would have helped. Because, they go out and you sign Miles Sanders to a big contract, and that was a disaster. He has not been good this year. Chuba Hubbard's, passed him in the depth chart. He's been running the ball more effectively. I mean, again, not really saying that much, but still. And you sign Adam Thielen, DJ Chark, Hayden Hurst. I did say, I was like, at least you got some veterans in there that could, help him out, but it just hasn't been good. He could definitely have used a Christian McCaffrey and a DJ Moore. But the Panthers, they have a lot of issues. I think, you got to give Bryce Young another year, see if you really have something there. But yeah, it's not looking good. And for Tepper, yeah, he was the guy that said, this is who I want. This is the quarterback that I want. And, you look at the seasons that C.J. Stroud is having compared to Bryce Young, it's not comparable. C.J. Stroud is most likely going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. And Bryce Young, yeah, it's been a rough go. It's been a rough go. But like I said, I think obviously he's going to get another year. But if next year's not the year, then you really got a problem on your hands. Because on the season, almost 2,800 yards passing, 11 touchdowns to 10 interceptions. You know what? Those are Daniel Jones numbers, from a couple of years ago. And he's got a 73.7 quarterback rating. Yeah, it's been a rough go. And then Miles Sanders, you look at the season he's had, 414 rushing yards, 1 rushing touchdown. Does he have a receiving touchdown? No, he does not. So, yeah, he only has 1 touchdown on the season. And, yeah, your leading receiver is Adam Thielen. 1,000 yards this season. But, Adam Thielen's been productive for them, but, you gotta get more weapons in there. But, yeah, it's been a rough go. But also the other thing, too, with the petition. So I was looking into that because it talked about if Tepper were to be removed, which is I don't think is happening, of course. But, yeah, it was just an article that said, can the NFL remove Tepper as the owner of the Panthers? But, yeah, you'd have to get, like, a certain amount of votes to get him out. Basically, they're just saying that Tepper's unfit for Carolina. But, yeah, I mean, it's been a rough go since he's taken over. Yeah, on the petition, people are saying, yeah, he's unfit for Carolina. This organization is a laughingstock of the NFL. But, yeah, I mean, you'd have to get a certain amount of votes. 24 members would have to vote, out of the 32, to vote in favor of a change in ownership. So, it's not going to happen. But it's like I said, I mean, it's been a rough go, and and the funny thing is, because the NFC South was so weak coming into this year, I was like, what, the Panthers, they had a good defense last year. Maybe they could be the team that, takes the NFC South. I don't know, maybe, get the number 1 overall pick. You draft Bryce Young, but yeah, they didn't even come close. Now, I didn't end up saying like they were definitely going to win the NFC South. I didn't make that prediction, but that was like what I was kind of leaning towards because, I mean, like, you look at everybody else, it's close. But then the season played out, and the Panthers were by far the worst team this year. So thankfully, I didn't like place any wagers, anything like that. But that was like, because I don't know. I mean, good defense. I mean, but from last year. But it's just, yeah, no, they've been a really bad team. But again, that starts with ownership and works its way down, because you're recycling head coaches. I mean, you're going from Ron Rivera, right, who's still with them back when he first started. Then you have now I just had his name in my head now. Matt Rule. Then you bring in Matt Rule. That doesn't work out. Frank Reich. That doesn't work out. Steve Wilkes. They played better with him as the coach, but then they let him go. Frank Reich is gone. Am I missing anybody in between? I think that's it, right? I think, yeah. I think I don't know if I'm missing another head coach in there, but yeah, it just hasn't worked out. In the quarterback situation, you're going from Sam Darnold to Baker Mayfield. You did bring Cam Newton back for a second. It just yeah. And now Bryce Young. I mean, who knows what's going to happen with him? So it's I mean, again, I don't know what else to say. It hasn't been a good stretch for Carolina in the David Tepper era. And now the Bears have the first pick this year. They have your pick. And the Bears could do a lot of different things. They're in good shape. It depends on now what they do at the quarterback position. If they stick with Fields, because they could take that pick and say, all right, we'll trade it for a bunch of assets. Make the team even better. I mean, they go and draft Marvin Harrison Jr. to go along with DJ Moore. I mean, that's the Bears are building something there. Now, if they're going to be able to build off of this season, we'll see. But they're heading in the right direction. The Panthers, though, yeah, it's not good. And again, the funny thing is, one of their 2 wins came against C.J. Stroud, which is weird to think about. But yeah, it's again, it hasn't been a good run for the Panthers. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it when talking about this. Again, let me know what you guys think about the Panthers situation and the situation with their owner being fined. When we come back from our first break of the show, we're going to talk about the main topic is some of these dark horse teams going into the playoffs. My thoughts on them. So there's a couple of them, and I'm sure you guys probably know what they are. But yeah, so that's what we'll discuss when we come back. So stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Football Podcast.